Max Verstappen, Welcome, ladies and gentlemen. We've had the Baku Grand Prix at Azerbaijan, round 17, and well, what a race it started off to be. And then, well, really interesting race, because after yesterday's grid, I just thought we'd have loads of overtaking, the Ferraris coming through, the two McLarens coming through. It was anything but, really, in the end. Max Verstappen took the win. A brilliant P2 from George Russell from P5. Great drive from him. And Carlos Sainz hangs on for a P3 podium result. He's got a podium before Lewis Hamilton. Who'd have thought that when he moved from Ferrari to Williams? And the championship battle looks ever closer, and could we see Max Verstappen sneaking in with a chance and a fight with 7 races to go? He's 69 points behind now, and he's definitely looking in the hunt for at least second place, which is so interesting. And now we're going to get a reverse of kind of what we had last year, where Red Bull and Max Verstappen built that 60-70 point lead, but Max managed it really well to the end of the championship. And we saw McLaren and Lando Norris trying to close in on that. Now it's McLaren with the lead, and Red Bull, after back-to-back wins, could be right in there. And it's a very different circumstances when you've got 4-time world champion Max, one driver, one team fully going at it against you, where you've got the no you first, no me second, no you sir, please do you go ahead, all the formalities and the nonsense that we've seen going on at McLaren. Could Max Verstappen and Red Bull sneak in there, and this will be probably the greatest championship win if he can pull this off. And it's strange saying this, because it's going to be one of the two McLarens. It's going to be one of the two McLarens, but 2 back-to-back races, and this was a horrible one for the McLarens. Absolutely no doubt it's gone down as an absolute stinker, really. I had Oscar Piastri to take the win. It's probably been one of his worst weekends. An awful start. And then into the wall. He didn't even make it round lap 1. How and when have we seen mistakes like this from Oscar? It looked like he was so eager to just put things right. He said he was just sort of too eager on the start, jumped the start, managed to stop it, and then got anti-stall, and then never got going. He was last. And then the line that he took, I think, he said he was surprised by the dirty air. I think he was probably also surprised at how dusty and green the track was on the outside of the circuit on lap 1. And that, he just went straight off into the wall. And from there on, Lando Norris lost a place back, a couple of places to Isaac Hadjar and Charles Leclerc, and it just looked like this is all going wrong here, because it was an open door for Lando Norris to go home and take some massive points off Oscar Piastri. But yeah, I'm going to do it in reverse a little bit. We'll talk about the 3 good and the 3 bad, and we're starting with the first of the Max Verstappen with a fantastic pole position yesterday and a lights to flag victory. It never looked in doubt. Won by it was about 15 seconds in the end from George Russell. He had a 30-second lead before his pit stop, so he could pit and choose when he wanted to do that. Went to lap 40. I think really just to cover off any potential safety car cheap pit stop if someone else just tries to run it long, which makes absolute sense, because there was no pressure on behind, and so much so that they started on the hard tyre with the 3 guys behind them all on mediums, and it shows the mentality that they had, that they knew they were quick enough and they were going to go out and just snatch victory, and he absolutely cruised it. Such a great drive, a Grand Slam, fastest lap, pole position, and a lights to flag victory. He's now led more laps than Lando Norris in this championship, more pole positions than the 2 McLarens, in a car that is, got Christian Horner sacked. It just says it all. This guy is an absolute machine, and he's just delivering every single time. He's right up there now, like this. If you ever had any doubts, he's putting himself right up there with the absolute greats of this sport, with drives like this in a car like this. It's clearly not the best car on the grid, but he's put himself back in with a chance to fight for the championship, which is just, I still can't believe I'm saying that. 69 points in it. There's, you know, a simple DNF there or somewhere next for any of the McLarens or Oscar Piastri, really. And it's well within a chance of some odd miscued results, kind of like this weekend. And it's anyone's game. You know, McLaren already marked Las Vegas as one race that they'll struggle at. So, you know, that's 6 more where Verstappen just needs to find some opportunity to make a fight out of it, and boy will he fight. He goes for every inch, tooth and nail. He's an absolute machine. Love him. It was a brilliant drive from him. So an easy one to start with the 3 good. On to the second one, and it's Carlos Sainz with a P3 on the podium. Like I said before, what a drive. He kept Max Verstappen really honest right at the start. A really good pace, and I think that's what really threw me off a little bit, because everyone had just sort of expected Max Verstappen to really breeze this, but 10 laps in, Carlos Sainz was only 2 to 3 seconds behind Max Verstappen. So that Williams showed really good pace. Carlos Sainz showed really good pace. And it was a brilliant, smooth operation from the master that's kept on from Ferrari. And the stat really is that he's pulled off a podium result before Lewis Hamilton, who moved to Ferrari, and you'd never ever in a million years have thought that would be the case. And he did it on merit. It was an excellent drive, a brilliant qualifying session, but the drive today was second to none. I think it might be a little bit disappointed with being passed by George Russell, possibly, but given that the differences between these cars and what we've seen most weekends, it was an absolute phenomenal drive. Topped everything off to a T in terms of strategy calls. Didn't go early like Liam Lawson, which might have cost him another place to Kimi Antonelli, but it was such a controlled drive, and I think that's why Williams are so happy to have signed Carlos Sainz. It's drives like this, and the driver that he is just really showing what he's made of. A fantastic job. So happy for him to pick up a podium in the Williams outfit, and really much needed, especially with the Racing Bulls, who they're fighting in the championship, both cars picking up points this weekend, and Carlos Sainz has sold Williams to bring home points, and a massive amount of points for them in the championship, and helping them keep P5, which would be great for them. Third of the 3 good, I'm going for Liam Lawson with a brilliant P5. It was so much pressure from Yuki Tsunoda that I thought he'd just be a sitting duck, but it was so good. The grit and determination that we've seen Christian Horner talk about why he got that seat really shone through to hold off Yuki. I think Yuki was just thinking a P6 here is a pretty solid result, solid points. And he also was just probably thinking that if he gets past Lawson, Norris gets past Lawson, and then he might be a sitting duck against Norris because he's got no DRS defense. So maybe that played a little role in that, but really, I think he'd be wanting to beat Lawson, but he didn't draw home right behind him. But Lawson did an absolutely brilliant job. Didn't give him too many opportunities. I think there was a once, maybe twice, where a dive bomb was possible from Yuki, but Lawson drove really well. Out of turn 3, the traction was excellent, because that looked like the second opportunity where Yuki could make that move, but it was really good drive on all the tyres, and a fantastic job to pick up some big points for him and the team, and try and close in on the Williams up ahead of them. A shout out to George Russell though as well, from P5 to P2, where we've seen all the big boys and all the talk about Ferrari coming forward and McLaren forward. George did an absolutely tremendous job. What a drive. Went really long in that first stint, and when the overcut worked fantastically well, he came out about 2 or 3 seconds ahead of Carlos Sainz on fresher tyres, and managed again, this guy just showing what a great driver he is. And another reason to sort of say to Toto Wolff, why were you stalling on this championship? Still not wrapped up that contract yet, and it's kind of getting past the silly season into the serious end of the season, and it looks like he might be seriously weighing his options of leaving Mercedes. And is he looking for something more than the 1+1 deal that we know Mercedes like to hand out, keep drivers on their toes? Total Wolff talked about that a lot, and I think that might be the only reason he'd want to do that, because with all the talk of the 26 regulations and this Mercedes engine being the best and being in that works team, could make a massive difference, and it could be that one opportunity he gets to fight for the championship. But yeah, again, George Russell showing what a great driver he is. On to the 3 bad, and I'm starting with Oscar Piastri, because what an awful weekend he has had. He has poor in practice, bad qualifying session, and what an absolutely stinking race. The worst possible way to just get off a stalled start, jump start, and then anti-stall, and then to crash it in about 5 or 6 laps. Really interesting. Talk about it being sort of championship pressure. I think the pressure is really on everybody else and not him. He's the one with a massive lead and just got to kind of maintain that to the end of the season. He's the one that's got everything to lose, but really he's just got to be careful and bring it home rather than taking the big risks. So I don't see the pressure really on that side of things, but it was just an absolutely awful weekend. One we've not seen him had since absolutely ages, to be fair. Brings the end to a massive long run. I think it was Vegas last year. He's finished every single race. And this is not a way he wanted his Azerbaijan Grand Prix to go, because it was ended up as being a horrible one in the end. And it could have been even worse, because it looked like, you know, there was open door for Lando Norris to get that championship lead down to within, you know, 15, 16 points or something like that, but it just never happened. So he can be massively happy with that, I suppose. It's the only damage and grace he can look at when you look at the championship and the race the way it went. He still holds a 25-point lead over Lando Norris, so he's still got one effective DNF ahead of them. So still all the cards in his pocket, but he just can't afford to have any more races as bad as this one. Second of the 3 bad, and it's his McLaren teammate Lando Norris. A massive chance. Started in P7, finished in P7 in the end. He dropped places to Isaac Hadjar early on, was in P8, then got passed by Charles Leclerc, and then I think there was a mistake by Isaac, which meant that both Leclerc and Norris got back past him, but otherwise he might have been in for a tougher race. Got a little bit of lucky, you've got to say, with the pit stop, because before that he would have finished or come out ahead of Lawson and Yuki, and he would have had a chance to close up to Antonelli and potentially Sainz. But there was at least 2 or 3 opportunities there on that long straight where he had the chance, and I don't think there would have been massive dive bombs on Yuki, but he played it safe and he's come home with just 6 points. That's less than a race win difference between 1 and 2. So if you look at it from that side, Oscar might be fairly happy with that. It's you could just say it's another race that Oscar's won and Norris has won and Oscar's not. But yeah, that's not really what you want to see, I think. And I think the worst part of that is, if I had seen Oscar Piastri in that McLaren, there's no doubt in me that he would have gone for that move. We've seen Oscar do that before. When he was racing in Monza, he was down there and fighting everything. He was ruthless. So not really quite seeing the same from Norris. He's playing the safe game, but he's got big points to make up. He's still 25 points behind in the championship, and with an open door like this, when your main rival's picking up no points, he's not really maximised it, and I think that's the real disappointment for him. The race, he was just sort of stuck behind other guys throughout most of it. Third of the three bad, and I've gone for Lance Stroll. He just went backwards. An absolutely shocking race, because I don't think it was a great race for the team overall. He started in 14th, finished in 17th in the end, and he just went for the long stop, got himself up to P11 at one point. But again, it was like the hope strategy from the Aston Martin team. And when was he going to get on the radio and say, look, we did this last weekend in Monza, it didn't really quite work. We went super long, he wasn't fast. And then came out on fresher tyres, and it just didn't work. Finished way down again, beaten comfortably by Fernando Alonso. And yeah, it's just, I really don't understand this position on Lance Stroll keeping his seat. Genuinely haven't seen anything in the last couple of years where I think you can hang your hat on that and say he's good at this or he's really good at this. And they say, yes, you know, he's very good at developing the car, but to put him in the test driver's seat, that's why you have them. Put him in that reserve seat and let him build and, you know, develop the car from there, and give a racer an opportunity to go home and give the fight to Fernando Alonso. Because Fernando Alonso, evergreen, is just absolutely pulling the pants down and spanking Lance Stroll left, right and centre, and it's getting worse. And the case for Stroll to go just seems to be getting stronger and stronger every weekend. And it happened here as well. But yeah, that's it. That's my three good and the three bad for the weekend, with a shout out for George Russell. But Max Verstappen was absolutely dominant again. Magnificent, pulls off a fantastic Azerbaijan win. Really didn't see this one coming as a back-to-back one. Yes, track similarities, low downforce, similar to Monza. But we go to Singapore next, and how will he fare there? And if he can pull off a win there, the championship and that 69 points lead is going to look really small going into the final 6 races from there. You can see the, you know, McLaren's panicking if anything like that happens. So a big, crucial, massively hyped already Singapore Grand Prix to come. I can't wait for another 2 weeks time before we get that one. Watch out for the driver ratings video coming shortly in the next week, and then I best get some practice in for my making the grid in Singapore. Will I do it? Baku was pretty much a fail, wasn't it? But yeah, gave it a decent shot in the end. Thanks for watching. Please like, subscribe, comment. As always, see you on the next one.